A warm welcome. Good morning to Tuesday's newsletter. It's the 20th of January, and time seems to be moving very quickly. Just a quick video, just to show you, just to get you ready for today.
Global supply chains are complex, markets are uncertain, and profit margins are under pressure. But opportunity still exists if you can clearly see the data and make informed decisions. This is the Export Unlocked Trade Intelligence Hub. One place to understand your supply chain, identify new opportunities, and make smarter trade decisions. Inside the hub, our Export Data Builder lets you enter your product's HS or commodity code, select the markets you want to explore, and instantly generate a market intelligence report. The same search works across more than 190 countries. If it works for the UK, it works for any market, because the intelligence is built on global trade classifications. Understand tariffs, supply chain routes, trade rules, and market opportunities, helping you reduce risk, improve decision-making, and grow profits. Everything you need inside one trade intelligence hub.
So that's what we're telling you today. It's some clear things we're covering, and today we'll just quickly go through what we're seeing as the news today and where the challenges are. We're certainly seeing. You've probably noticed over the last kind of few weeks, really, what we've been talking about, a lot of shifting of supplier, and we're seeing that in the hub. So we're starting to see a lot of changes, and hopefully the hub will be available for everybody, which will always be nice. But again, it's just understanding that. So let's see what our trade intelligence is telling us today on our trade newsletter. Please, the trade newsletter is in the post, so if you want to look at the whole, it covers 11 topics on there. We just outline a few of the topics, but we're seeing the European buyers are looking at reducing their supplier list, and this isn't driven by collapse of demand or economic down. It's a result of fundamental shift in risk tolerance, regulatory pressures, compliance exposure. So we're starting to see shifts already. Global trade is I've never seen it in 30 odd years of doing this. I've seen changes over the years, so Brexit, massive changes. But we're seeing in 2026 a lot of big changes. And we wasn't prepared for Brexit because we couldn't be prepared because we didn't know what was going to happen. We knew fundamentally what was going to happen when the changes happened, but the government was so slow, and I understand obviously they had to do a lot of policies, and it left a lot of businesses exposed. This is the trade intelligence. It's telling you where the exposure is. Look at it, read it, understand it. That's what we're telling you. We're not trying to tell you must do it. We're just saying, look at the market shifts. We're certainly seeing the trade in 2026 is going to be shifting everywhere on your supply chain. Make sure you're ahead of the game. Market demand concentration. Certainly we're seeing a lot more regularity. We want to know where our supply chain, where our risk is, where our traceability is, our exposure. This is a field day for an auditor or a government that can start to understand and start to visit companies and do, regular audits. Obviously, the UK is on its own now, so it's doing regular audits. You leave yourself so exposed to, again, compliance risk, your delivery reliability. How exposed are you with your freight forwarder? Your freight forwarder will do a great job, but he's speaking to them. Don't just keep giving them work every week. Speak to them. See where the challenges are. They might be facing challenges. They might be able to update you. Lots of forwarders now, freight forwarders update people. Again, have a look. They're doing the news because they're trying to update you to say, look, these are the challenges. Because what happens is when you give them the freight and they can't move it because they need certain documents, and you get all frustrated and, annoyed and everything else, but they've been telling you. And this is the whole point of the trade intelligence. It's telling you the things to look out for. Trade is shrinking in breadth, so we know it's shrinking. But again, having that approved suppliers are capturing larger shares, so it gives you an opportunity. There's always an opportunity, trust me. There's always an opportunity, like me doing YouTube. There's always an opportunity where people want to see something that gives them intelligence news. Why does this matter to a UK exporter? Well, we know there's tougher competition. We know there's high scrutiny on our goods, and we know the UK, remember, you bring a lot of raw material in, you bring a lot of consumer driven, a lot of goods come into the UK. You need to understand that traceability, so it's less room for any error. You again, once approved list, maintaining your position requires flows. So again, look at all the things that can help you. There are lots of things that HMRC can support you with, believe it or not. I know that sounds, a bit bizarre, but there's lots of things like think of your own processing. If you're doing processing, think of bonded warehouse, think of AO, think of all these things that you can do. And we'll be talking a lot about these to just give you some insights of where the benefits are. 3 customers last week I went to see. One will use inward processing. The second will start to look at bond to see how we can make it work better for him. And the third one has a lot of documentation issues going into the US, but it can be resolved. Everything can be resolved. It's all paperwork. Don't let anybody frighten you. Goods will move smoothly across borders as long as you've got the correct stuff. So the correct paperwork, the correct, documentation, the correct compliance, the correct audit trail, traceability, suppliers declaration, the correct customs declaration, the correct Incoterm. I'm going to spend a bit of time on Incoterms because so many companies leave themselves exposed. It's your market approach. Large EU buyers have implemented increasing sophisticated internal supplier screening processes. They have to now with CBAM. So CBAM carbon border adjustment mechanism is coming thick and fast, as we will say. And we've got to make sure that we're ahead. So they're doing a lot of theirs. They've been quite slow at EU, but they're realising now they have to do a lot of things. So again, it puts a lot of scrutiny on a UK supply. Remember, EU is still our largest trading partner collectively. Obviously, the US, we have to look at that US. I think we're putting ourselves under enormous strain here with the US. And, we have a president in the US who he will try in his best, in my opinion, to support the UK. But there's only so far. If we align ourselves more with the EU, that's going to put enormous pressure. We're none of us here in politics. We don't want to be involved in politics, but we're seeing that shift, and we'll see the pressures, and that could cause a headwave, as we say, or headwind, should we say, a headwind into the UK exporters. So again, be very conscious of that. China. So we were looking at China, about China's export surpluses. What are they looking at? What markets are they looking at? And it's interesting how the redirection creates concentrated competitive pressure. European Union, big market, Asian markets, African corridor, all these key areas. Latin America, who would have thought Latin America, but it's becoming an increasingly important market. More supply competes for the same demand creates downward price pressure. So again, look at your price points, keep competitive. Make sure you understand your Incoterms, your documents, your costing, your landing costs, all these things that the export and the export builder will do for you in future to support that journey. What measures commercially? Buying short contracts. So long-term commitments are replaced with short contracts. That's something that I've seen in my business where you used to get a 1-2 year contract. Now it's monthly or whatever it is. So it allows the buyer to maintain that flexibility. We're seeing price pressure rise, so multiple qualified suppliers compete for limited opportunities. We're seeing number 3, risk tolerance falls, buyers become increasingly conservative for an established relationships. So again, build them relationships. I was talking about this yesterday at an event, having that relationship, gives you the opportunity. They will let you know what's required. If you don't have that relationship, you could be, squeezed out and you're probably not doing anything wrong. Again, documentation becomes a filter, as we say. Compliance carefully transitions from operational considerations, strategic differentials. So again, perfect documentation becomes table stakes. If you're moving your goods and they're always arriving with the customer, why is he going to change that? If he's forever getting issues with customs or documentation or delays, he's going to start to question that and look elsewhere because he's under enormous pressure. So again, we're seeing trade friction moves upstream, problems that once serviced at customs now are going around the supplier. So we're not just seeing it in customs, we're seeing it around that supplier, procurement, qualifications, all these kind of things that you have to think about. So again, look at it, keep ahead. The hidden failure point, most experts lose shipments before they even reach the point because we don't understand what we're doing. And again, there's plenty of advisors, plenty of specialists apparently on LinkedIn, as we're seeing every day. But again, look at this. Look at where the pain points are. Use the experienced people who have been doing this for years. Join our channel. Our channel will give you all this support. Yeah, and there's tools there, there's videos you'll be able to purchase or watch for free and other things. So, we're all here to be in business, and we feel like the channel is a real important part for 2026 to help a lot of exporters, importers, not just here in the UK, but globally. We've built that globally, and we're starting to see in our intelligence what's happening with our data. The lesson the lesson today is not changing. In 1800s trade control, tariffs were found, national governments and control the balance of trade. What you're seeing in 2026 is no different. The president in the US is using it to his advantage. It'll only last for a certain period of time. Is it right? Is it wrong? It's not for me to say. Then I'm not into politics, but he's doing it. So all we can do is we have to adjust the way we work, because the pressure he puts on the EU, China, all these other big players puts enormous pressure on the UK. UK, look at and I'll talk about this in a bit more detail. Look at our data, what it's telling us. It sounds like the US is pivotal to our business and EU is pivotal. So we've got two fighters here. If we're pushing ourselves more to the EU, we're going to get extra tariffs. We've got the problems with NATO and all these other things. So again, it's that shift. So it's history, as we say, it repeats itself. I love talking history and I love talking data, because people talk nonsense half the time. But actually, the data is telling you. I'm only telling you what the data is telling us. I'm getting that data from the sources that everybody can get, but I'm just dragging it all in together. And it's interesting what we're seeing. So we're certainly seeing shifts within there. So thanks for joining us today. Tomorrow we'll see what brings today with the challenges, and tomorrow we'll be doing our next Trade Intelligence newsletter. Again, please join, subscribe. That's what we want. We want to really build this. We want people to be able to jump on it and get the information they need, be able to ask questions, everything else. But we can only do that with your support. So thanks for joining us. Have a great day, and we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Hopefully, that's the plan.